It's alive. It's alive.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome out to our Sunday night live stream, 6 o'clock Eastern time every Sunday. Tonight we got a cool show. We're going to do a quick recap of the New York City Tattoo Con that happened yesterday. Actually, 3 days in a row. So it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We attended on Sunday. Saturday. Sorry, man. I tell you what.
Sunday.
It is Sunday.
Oh.
I am shot from yesterday. We did a shit ton of walking around, and to be honest with you, man, I am tired. And then running around today didn't help. But amazing show. I have some cool pictures that we're going to show you later. Justin's got some cool stuff that he bought yesterday. And then, we're just going to kind of do a quick rundown on what we thought about it, and we'll go from there. I also have some cool stuff coming up for you guys this week. I'm going to piece together a couple quick video clips that I have of our adventure throughout the day.
My favorite part was definitely the standing up, riding home train ride. So we're like exhausted completely, and the train was so full we had to stand in the aisles, man. It was like some kind of hell realm. Am I not speaking?
Yeah, there you go.
How about now?
Yeah, there you go, dude. All right, there we go.
All right.
Yeah, the ride home fucking... Man, see, I swore already in the first 2 minutes.
How are we ever going to get YouTube's
I don't know,
approval?
Man. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to happen.
We got anybody here yet?
I don't know, man. Let me check the chat. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so we got Sarah. We got our moderator, Nikki. And nobody else has chimed in chat yet, but we have other people viewing.
Nice. Hey, Sarah.
So, yeah, can you guys hear Justin now? Just to make sure.
Can you hear Justin now?
The train ride home was a complete mess.
So you have to. The only reason I mention it because you have to picture. So me and Buck and I and the people that we went with are just beat to shit. Right? It's been hot. We've been in 3 or 4 cabs without any air conditioning at all. The tattoo convention was 3 floors. We ended up going out. So we're just beat, We get to the train station, we find a place to sit, and then we're like, all right, we're going to get on the train. It's going to be a comfortable ride home. And not so much.
Not so much.
After Newark, it wasn't bad.
It just, it's kind of part of the whole going to New York City thing. You got to expect some unexpecteds. As far as the show itself, I have to just say...
It's a bomb.
It reminded me of the old school shows. In a good way.
Yeah, I said it was a bomb, but I meant like the bomb in a good way.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah.
I was just saying, it reminded me of the old school shows.
So we really try to not do like the old head versus young people. We try not to play that up. But without a doubt, the show overall was all 20-year guys, 25-year guys, not to mention the old-timers that were on the stage. And everyone there, man, everyone there was top of their game,
Yeah, they did a pretty big solid to the older generation, let's call them legendary people that are part of this industry.
Let's not call them legendary when we're around them, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to...
Because they don't want to be called that, to be honest with you. They do not think of themselves that way at all.
And just the approachability of almost of everyone there, I think it's some tattoo conventions there's a sense from some of the artists that maybe they're a little, I don't know, I want to say a little insecure in themselves as artists or their experience. And so there's like a little bit of an attitude, right? You walk up to the booth, you get the eyeball a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yesterday, none of that. None of that at all.
Everybody was super approachable. Everybody was super nice. Shout out to Civ for putting
For
the
an
show.
excellent show.
Yeah, I mean, it was very well put together. The venue was a good fit. There were some areas that were a little overcrowded, like, aisle-wise, for definitely, like, two fat guys to be walking around down the aisle.
There was this one, like, elevated aisle. I'm not saying me and Kenny had to go sideways. I'm just saying,
Yeah, it was definitely, we had to turn sideways.
We had to turn sideways.
But the venue itself it ran super smooth. There was no crazy like lines. There was no crazy like crowds of people pushing people around.
No, not at all.
Civ had his kids doing a lemonade stand at the one area that was freaking amazing. It was probably the best lemonade I've had in I don't know how long. It was cool. It was just a really cool vibe. I want to go back to the whole putting the elders or legends or whatever you guys want to call them up on the stage. I think that them doing that was like mad props to those gentlemen that were up there. And so we'll just kind of go right down the list. There was Mike Perfetta, Shane Enholm, Richie Montgomery, Marvin Moskowitz, Ronnie Delacqua, Les Clayton. There was 2 or 3 other dudes up there. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I was really trying to remember everybody, but.
And then I think I want to say Sean Brewer. I'm not sure. He wasn't actually doing tattoo art. He's an oil painter who does a lot of tattooers as his subjects. Really, really excellent. Really respected guy.
Yeah.
He was up there too.
We ran into J.D. Crow, another legendary guy, and super cool, awesome to talk to, and he is the guy that runs the Norfolk Tattoo Expo. So, I went out of my way to make sure I talked to him for a little bit, and I schmoozed myself into a good spot with him, so this way I can actually pull off some interviews while I'm down there. I'm also going to interview JD himself. I mean, that to me is amazing. The amount of history that JD Crow has, the history knowledge that he has, unreal.
So for people that don't know, Crow had National Tattoo Brand Flash. And when I started getting tattooed in the late 80s, that kind of defined, if a tattoo shop had black and white sheets still, that said something about the shop. But if they had the color sheets, and I mean, you might go into a tattoo shop where 80% of the flash, 85% of the flash was the black and white sheets, which I've come to appreciate in time. But as a kid, I didn't really appreciate them that much. But the color sheets, man.
Yeah.
The color sheets were like, this place is serious.
Yo, what's up, Jesse? Jesse's in.
Hey, Jesse.
Drags from Spain. It said, "Hola, Justin and Buck. Nice to see you. Greetings from España.
Hola.
And greetings to the tattoo community." So
nice,
dude. He's even giving shout outs to all you guys out there watching. So that's awesome, man. But no, I got some cool pictures I'll bring up, and we'll show you kind of some shots. Some of the shots that I took yesterday. Sorry. Because we got to do it split screen, so you at least see some of the stuff. They looked a little squished, so we're not going to show them. But I'll make sure I cover them on the video that I do this week. After we did the convention, and we're going to go back to the convention, by the way. So we're not going to skip over that. But we did head down to the Lyle Tuttle Skull Flash exhibit, which was pretty awesome. I thought it was awesome. You kind of were like, yeah, it was cool, but it wasn't like, It
was, yeah.
And then we went to Daredevil Tattoo, and their museum was equally as amazing, if not better.
So, Daredevil Tattoo Museum Brad Fink and Michelle, who own it, are both collectors. I mean, they have original, for instance, the Sundance back tattoo of Burt Grimm's. They have the original there. They have
Not a copy.
Not a copy, not a repaint.
The original.
They have Charlie Wagner stuff there, Burchett's stuff there.
They had the original Charlie Wagner, one of his machines. They had pictures that are unpublished of Charlie Wagner's.
Coleman. They had Coleman stuff.
They had Coleman's original sign that hung out in front of his shop. I mean, if that's not mind-blowing enough, that's just like the tip of the iceberg or the amount of stuff that they had. Unfortunately, and I did respect it, and I got it, I understood why, but they didn't allow anybody to take pictures in there because there is so much original, badass, unpublished stuff in that. If you're ever in New York City or ever get a chance to go to New York City, you have to go to the Lower East Side and you have to go check out Daredevil Tattoo. I don't care if you're getting a tattoo or not. Go in there just to check out the shop.
And one of the cool things too is they concentrate on the history of New York as well.
Yeah.
The history of New York tattooing specifically. No, but just to back up a little bit, I like the Tuttle exhibit.
Yeah.
I did. I like the Tuttle exhibit.
No. I'm not saying you didn't. I think you were more impressed with the Daredevil stuff.
Because the difference is Charlie Wagner, Burt Grimm, Coleman,
Millie Hall.
I mean, they were long dead by the time I started tattooing, and I met Lyle a bunch of times and took a machine seminar from him. And
yeah.
Nah,
man, they even had, I think, I'm fairly certain in that one little small booth, they had one of Millie Hall's original signs from her shop, and they also had a Moskowitz sign.
Nice.
Like when I was walking around, it was one of those things where, like, as a fat kid, you go into a candy store and you're like, "Ooh, piece of candy! Ooh, piece of candy!" That's how I was. Like it was like one of those overstimulated.
And just for the record, Buck did not want to go into Daredevil Tattoo at first. He was like, "I'm tired," and I was like, "No, we need to go to Daredevil Tattoo." Thank you very much.
Okay, in my defense,
I mean,
I was dying.
By that point, we were exhausted.
I was dying.
Buck's wife actually had to carry him a couple city blocks at one point.
I had back surgery, and so for me, like, there's times where sometimes my back, hurts worse than others.
We set up at your voice.
Yeah. Dude, my feet hurt, my ankles hurt. Like,
Jesus.
I was having fat guy syndrome, something fierce. And then we go to get into this cab because it's a bigger cab. It's like a minivan to fit all of us in there. And the cab driver was like, "I'm on my break, but I'll run the meter for 5 minutes until I'm done." And then Justin was like, "Wait, you're going to run the meter before we even get in the cab?" And the guy was like, "Yeah." Justin was like, "Hey, buddy, go fuck yourself." The dude didn't even know what to say.
Dude, I mean, what the fuck, man? What do we look like, rubes?
I laughed.
Yeah.
He didn't, not so much. But you know what? The fine gentleman behind him was more than happy to cram us into his little tiny 4-door car where all of us squeezed our asses into it after my man was eating fish and chips.
Nice.
I'm in the back seat. Let Justice sit in the front. We got 2 other females in the back with me, cramming my fat ass against them. And all I could smell is hot fish.
Now, bear in mind,
it was neither one of the women, by the way, before anybody gets any wise comments and makes some nasty shit. It was my man was eating some fish and chips with the mushy peas.
So, in the front was the computer.
Air conditioner.
Was the computer
Jerk
for
off.
the... it was the computer for the taxi. So, my upper body was fine, but my lower body was, squished against the cab, It was, but all in all, like all that stuff,
made it was the adventure.
Yeah, made it.
It's like we tell you guys all the time. It's not always about the tattoo. It's the adventure. Boom. Would I go back to New York City? Probably not.
I love New York.
I hate it. It smells like piss.
I love New York.
Hot, steamy piss.
I love New York at 2 a.m. in the morning when it's like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I love that.
Yeah.
Philly doesn't have that. Baltimore doesn't have that. Maybe Boston does, but I don't think so.
Back in the day, man, I used to do a lot of nighttime New York City stuff, man. I mean, especially when I was gigging back in the day.
Right, and you come out the club at like what 3, 4 in the morning. It might as well be the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because
come out the club.
Back in the day, this was way before I quit drinking. I sent him a picture to my brother, who's also heavily tattooed, and said, "Yo, man, we're at the first annual New York City TAT Con," and I sent him a picture of the stage. I'm going to show you guys here in a second. And he was like, "Oh man, that's awesome, dude!" And then I started to tell him who was there, and he was just super jealous. And he was like, "Man, back in the day, we used to do some runs up there." And I said, "Yeah, man." I said, so at that time, my brother, who's been clean and sober for 30-some years, could only drink O'Doul's, right? And we used to go to this bar on Bleecker Street. It was called the Peculiar Pub. And you could rent this giant mug for $10. And they had like 100-something beers on tap. Well, out of the 100-something beers on tap, 20 of them were like non-alcoholic beers. So he was like in heaven.
Has never made sense to me.
It doesn't to me either, but he was in heaven because he was like, "Holy shit, dude, I can drink something other than O'Doul's, which tastes like skunk piss." And he would try all these like German non-alcoholics and all that. Well, meanwhile, I'd be all banged up by the end of the night and have to drag me to a cab. But it was just cool, man. I mean,
So the funny thing, too, about going to Daredevil in the Tuttle exhibit yesterday was that it's in a part of town that 15, 20 years ago
was a nightmare.
Would have been your ass to be down there. I mean, it was right next to Alphabet City, right in the center of, when I started going down there in the 90s, and even in the 90s, it was still a little sketchy. Not like 1980s sketchy or 1970s sketchy.
Yeah.
But still sketchy.
So the other cool thing about Daredevil, Michelle, that owns it, or co-owner.
It's a smoke show.
She does a walk, a historic walk on Fridays. You got to book it ahead of time. And she will take you to Chatham Square to see all the historic places where Wagner's shop was, Millie Hull's shop was, where the Moskowitz shop was. There was a couple other, Lou the Jew. So there was a bunch of different huge legendary tattoo artists all within the same area, and she'll walk you around and show you where each of the shops were. Now, some of them you're going to have to use your imagination because the building's either been torn down or completely redone.
And can you imagine that when those shops were there, that was under an elevated train?
Yeah.
All of that was like dark.
If you've ever seen the Charlie Wagner one that I've done, I actually have original pictures of Chatham Square in there somewhere in the middle. And it shows you the L. So we call it the L here. I don't know, for you Canadians and people from Spain.
So Charlie Wagner, he was famous for sitting down for a special cup of coffee from Chinatown in the morning.
Man.
Yeah.
He was into the dragon.
Yeah, opium laced coffee.
Jesse said Eva and I ended up buying 12 flash books, so I lugged about 100 pounds of books around. My back was hurting too. So now you know what it's like for us on a regular
Jesse,
day.
you're in your 20s, man. You're in your 20s.
Yeah, but that's what it's like for us on a regular.
Yeah.
Carrying that extra hundy. All right, man. You want to show these guys some cool pictures?
Yes.
Let's get into it. I mean, because then we can kind of talk through the whole... hold on before I do that, because I don't want to make sure I'm on the right stuff.
Yeah, we don't want those special pictures you took of yourself, Buck.
No. So here is a shot from the balcony. I actually took this from the 3rd floor. There was 3 floors that were here in the building, right? And this is actually on the 3rd floor looking down. And as you can see on the stage here is where they had all the legendary guys that were up there. Like I said, Shane Enholm, Richie Montgomery, Perfetto, Ronnie Delacqua, Marvin Moskowitz. So this is just, typically we do a split screen and all that. I just wanted you guys to be able to see kind of what it looked like. Here's another shot looking down onto the floor, and on the floor there were probably another 40 or so artists. Big Lease, Grime, Mike Schwatt. I mean, dude, the names were freaking endless. It was amazing talent.
So you had Scott Sylvia and Jeff Raschier from California. You had Grimy. You had Electric Tattoo. Ryan and Mike Swaggart were there. Big Meese, who was like the coolest.
Yeah.
Like the
He's
coolest
a big
dude.
biker like us.
Yeah, and
He's big.
Dude.
Big
and he's
dude.
yeah, after the show I'm gonna go up through Maine, and then through Canada, down to Sturgis. Yeah, because I have no kids, and so.
And he's riding like an old school chopper panhead.
Right.
Not a cruiser, not a bagger. He's riding old school, man.
Is he that a hardtail?
Yeah. Raked out. Chopped out.
He's like, once you get him set right, they're fine.
And I'm thinking to myself, bullshit. My kidneys hurt just listening to the story.
But really, like, he took time, like, in between tattoos.
Everybody took time to talk, man. That's what's cool, dude. There was no attitudes.
None.
Because nobody there had anything to prove.
None. Yes.
Anybody that was like not in the middle of tattooing, more than helpful, more than grateful to talk, shoot the shit, talk about what, anything, tattoo wise. Obviously, nobody's going to tell you what they're doing or whatever, but.
And even the person that
we don't
I was
ask those
with,
kind of questions,
who is relatively tattooed now, not heavily tattooed, but definitely getting to be heavily tattooed. Even she had said that, like, everyone, like, zero attitude. People were stopping her saying that they like some of her stuff. She actually has a Squidward tattoo, which she hates, and she always gets compliments on her Squidward tattoo.
Yeah, so we got, here's a picture of me doing a quick... So I'm going to play these clips for you guys this week. Like I said, I'm going to piece them together, but here's a good shot of me talking to Marvin Moskowitz. His dad was Walter, Stanley and Walter Moskowitz. They're the original Bowery Boys. I would call them tattoo royalty at this point. I mean,
This was the first 8.5 hours of the convention for me.
Yeah.
Wait.
Good.
I'm only kidding. Buck was like talking to everybody, and yeah, just standing there.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I didn't go to this to enjoy myself. I almost kind of treated this like work, because
I went to
the
enjoy
more
myself.
that I talk to these people, and the more that I get to know these guys, and the more they realize that I'm legit and I'm not trying to just be some scumbag that's biting off the scene like other people out there that are doing stuff, I have a legit interest in history and want to bring it to the masses in a newer way, in a newer format. So the rest of you guys could have some insight on some of this stuff where maybe... you might not have an opportunity to go speak to Marvin Moskowitz, but you know what? I sit down and I interview him, and you get to understand him. And, I know there's people out there that might not like certain tattoo artists for different reasons and whatnot, but it's my way of bringing it to you guys so you can kind of have an intimate discussion or hear an intimate discussion with them.
So I was talking to Walter's Walter's grandson, and he was telling me a story that there was a hepatitis ban in New York with tattooing in the 1950s, and what everybody sort of agrees was that there was no hepatitis, just the World's Fair was coming, and they wanted to clean up the city, and at the time, tattoo was scummy shit, so they shut the shops down. But he said the other story is that the woman who was the head of the health department of New York came into the Moskowitz shop and said, "Can I watch you operate? Can I watch you tattoo and operate the autoclave?" And he said, "Sure, if I can watch you fuck your husband."
Good Lord.
So, and this is like 1950. So who knows what story's true? Who knows what story's true?
And I've also heard that story as well. So I'm going to say it's probably true. I mean,
because that,
you've heard stories about, the inspectors would go in and they were to check the autoclave and they would be steaming clams.
I have heard that story as well.
So they weren't even using it for what they were supposed to be using it for.
There's another story about Stanley and Walter when they were after they left Manhattan, they went to Long Island. And I think the story is about Stanley. When he was about 60, guy came into his shop and was like, "You're going to have to pay us now to operate." So, a local biker guy came in there from a club. And Stanley pulled out a razor and cut him from his shoulder to his belly. I mean, shallow, but just swiped him like that. And the dude ran out and shrieked. Dude, because Stanley was old school, Bowery. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Like those guys didn't take any shit, man. Here's another cool pic of me having a conversation with JD Crow. Again, he is the guy that runs the Norfolk Tattoo Expo. Huge historian. A wealth of knowledge. He's like a walking encyclopedia of tattoos.
And what he was talking about was that he at one point ran the Richmond Tattoo Convention.
Yeah. And
Richmond was the convention.
Right.
I mean, that was the convention to go to. And I mean, and this is sort of during the initial, I feel like during the initial explosion of tattooing when Richmond was around. Like, you had the old heads when there were not that many of them, and then you had guys a little bit older than me coming in, and the ranks were starting to swell. But it was still small enough to where everybody sort of knew each other. Everybody, either they knew you or they knew one of your friends. And so there was like this sense of camaraderie. And, we felt it last night, but I think back then it was probably even more when everybody at the convention was really tattooed, really into tattoo machines. Like, you know what I mean? Really part of the culture.
And I'm going to say on my own personal level, I mean, I know you're busting balls about me like spending time and talking to these guys, but there's also these guys that I've been talking to since I started this thing.
Busting balls. I wasn't busting balls.
But like to have Marvin Moskowitz ask me how my mom was doing. You know what I mean? Like that's not. If it was just a dude that I just met and, that we left it at that and boom, boom, boom or whatever, they wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like,
he actually said, he's like, "I feel like I know you."
Yeah, like
but I'm glad I could put the face to you now. Yeah,
there's just this personal thing that starts to develop, man, which I appreciate, man. I love it. But so yeah, that's a cool shot of JD Crow. We got another cool shot here. Me talking to Mike Perfetto, the Michelangelo of tattooing, designs by Michelangelo.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little hesitant at first, and because he just, I think he thought I was trying to do like a whole interview, and I was like, no, man, I just kind of want to ask you what your thoughts were on the first annual show. You know what I mean? Because it was the first one, and it's cool because we got to be there for the first of hopefully many to go. I don't know if I'm going to go again, but no, I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll go.
absolutely.
I'll go.
I might wear New Balances next time.
I told you, bro. I told you.
No, it was fine.
Before we left, I said to him, I go, man, we were in North Jersey for a thing, and you bitched about your feet
Did
hurting.
I bitch about my feet yesterday at all?
Nope, you didn't. But I was waiting. You might have just held back and nodded down because you knew I was going to say something, dude.
No.
Because I was like, dude.
No.
Another cool picture of Shane at home. He was there, super happy to see me.
Us?
Yeah. I say me, but the thing is, though, is let's take it back to the whole personal thing again, right? So, the night before, Justin sends me a link, and it shows you, what you couldn't take into the thing. Well, on there was a thing saying that you couldn't take camera bags, backpacks, anything. And I'm like, God damn it, dude. So Shane was texting with me, and I told him, I said, look, man, I can't take my stuff in there. And he said, dude, bring it. And then when you get here, send me a text. I'll come out and get it, and I'll bring it in. How cool is that?
There you go.
I mean, but that's what I mean. Like, when these guys start to talk about how the old days of the conventions were and how it was more about a family of good friends that they couldn't wait to see, and it wasn't really about this giant blowed out convention where people are selling beef jerky and other nonsense.
It is like what Baba said when you got invited to dinner.
Exactly.
When you got invited to
Baba
dinner.
made a comment on his interview where he was like, you knew you were in with the old guys when you got invited to dinner. And to me, that's kind of, not with everybody, of course, but there's a couple handful of dudes that, I don't know.
I mean, Marvin said, if I come down for the interview, you're gonna get, you're gonna take.
Because I had said to him, I said, dude, you come down, because he wants to do the live stream with us. And I said, dude, you do that, we'll go to dinner afterwards, man. I'll take you out to dinner, man. We'll hang out.
So he said that would be 2 fat guys and a sort of fat guy.
Yeah.
In a tattoo shop.
2.5 fat guys.
Yeah.
There you go. Because he's not that big. He's chubby, but... Do you want to tell everybody, you want to bust my balls about the whole Daredevil with Brad Fink?
No. Yeah,
ahead, man.
Yeah, I do, actually.
Go ahead.
So, we're leaving, and I see Brad Fink. So I'm like, hey, man, what's up? And he stops, and he's talking to me and Buck, and then he goes, hey, I think I recognize you. I follow you I follow you online, right? And Buck was like,
I was not.
He was.
Dude, you're making it sound like I was giggling like a little girl, dude. No,
he wasn't giggling like a little girl. But knowing Buck, I mean, it is pretty cool because Brad is like, he's serious about tattooing, and for him to say, like he said, he liked your Wagner.
Yeah,
he liked your Wagner video.
So this is kind of one of those things, man,
he
where
was kidding like a schoolgirl.
I was not.
He was too.
No.
Don't make me bring
No, dude. Look, here's the deal. So for the longest time, I was in the music business, man, and I was around famous musicians a lot. And I never got like that ever. Man, like if I would meet David Gilmour, I would probably lose my shit. He's probably one of my favorite guitar players of all time. Love Pink Floyd. I lost my shit
meeting Joey Ramone.
There you go. So, man, there might be a couple that I would be like, holy shit. But for the most part, I never got like that. Yesterday, I was more shocked and amped that he did recognize me and that he did watch our stuff and he does subscribe to our stuff. And while we're on that subject, make sure you like and subscribe if you're out there. Hit that like button for us right now. There's a bunch of you guys watching. Hit that like button. Push it out. But to me, I was like, dude, you like something that I put blood, sweat, and tears into. So for me, I think that that's where it was more meaningful. That somebody out there that is respected, well-known dude said, holy shit, man, I subscribe to your stuff. To me, it was like, man, okay, cool, dude. I love all my subscribers. Don't get me wrong. But when somebody like that comes and says, yeah, dude, I subscribe to your stuff, I watch your stuff, I was floored.
So me and a friend of mine were talking this morning about...
What's up, Tom?
About being pleased with being respected. Or, you know, when I started tattooing, I wasn't really interested in the conventions or anything. What I wanted was guys like Swagger, who tattooed me, to be like, you're a tattooer.
Right.
Guys like Mike Wilson to be like, you're a tattooer. I was interested in being respected by guys I respected. And that's, you know, me and my buddy were talking about that this morning. That's just a natural thing. There's nothing, you know, to take pleasure in being acknowledged. I mean, that... Yeah.
Look, I mean, when it comes down to it, like, anybody out there can be like, you know what, man, I'm a creator, and I don't give a shit if people, you know, click the thumbs down button or give me negative comments or blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it stings a little. Because you know what, dude? It's something that I work really, really hard on, and I put my blood, sweat, and tears into. So, you know, sometimes it stings a little. Sometimes I'm just like, all right, whatever, you're being a douche. But when you have stuff like that, man, where it's somebody, or even, nothing for nothing, but when we were talking, you know, before I even had a second to talk to JD Crow, Shane Enholm was like, you got to talk to these guys. These guys are the real deal. They're legit. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm trying to do my Shane, but for him to say that about us, yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was really cool.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, it got me a little like, all right, man, we're on the right track. We're doing the right thing.
Because, you know, I was talking to some of the guys yesterday about, I think the newer generation of tattooers, because of how old they are just more media savvy.
Yeah. Right?
Like, if you grew up with daily contact with the internet and Snapchat and Instagram, it seems like they intuitively understand it better. And so there's a lot more online attention to them, is how I feel about it. You know, and I'm not disrespecting anybody or talking shit about the new school, but like, it's true. And yesterday I felt whatever that was, I felt like it was a little bit of a pushback by some tattooers who are older and have been around longer. They sort of got together and were like, we're going to put on something that's our thing, you know?
Yeah, well, and that's the other piece of this is just like the Norfolk show. Yesterday, or the convention this weekend, was invite only. So you couldn't just go buy a booth and set up and be like, hey, man, I'm a tattoo artist, I'm planting my flag. You had to be invited to go to this show. You know what I mean? Like, so there was, you know, Civ in his mind going, these are the guys I want. These are the guys I respect. These are the guys that respect other tattoo artists. And even having like Bezel Books there.
Wendy, yep.
You know what I mean? And because she's selling some amazing books. The books that she had there were freaking awesome, dude. I just didn't have enough money on me.
Same.
You know, there were other people there that were selling prints or selling paintings that they did. I just, for a tattoo lover to see some of that stuff was pretty awesome, man. And it wasn't about anything other than those things.
And Dana was there, Dana Brunson.
Dana Brunson was there, man.
Who just put out a book about Don Nolan's Flash, and then has another book that he put out called a Tattoo Encyclopedia, I think, which is incredible. Which is, I mean, I have a lot of that stuff from other books that I've already owned and books that I've bought over the years. But if you're looking for a book to start about tattoo history, I mean, it's huge, and it's just full of flash and photographs. It was excellent.
And the cool thing, thank you for reminding me of that. The cool thing about Dana is not only is he wants to do an interview while I'm down in Norfolk, but him and I were talking about where I'm doing these episodes, and there's a lot of times now. It was Dana and his wife Dot. I was talking to both of them, and Dot helps curate, I guess, some of his collection because he's got a ton of history that he's collected throughout the past 40 years or whatever it is. And I said to him, I said, look, man, a lot of times there's episodes I want to do on certain tattoo artists that I really struggle to find pictures that are not copywritten or have watermarks on them or whatever. And flat out told me, because he understands what I'm trying to do and respects what we're doing, I can use anything I want of his. Just don't sell it. That's all he's asking. I mean, for him to give me permission.
And it was the same thing Susanna Tuttle's exhibit.
Danielle,
I apologize. Was like, take pictures.
Yeah.
Just don't put. She specifically said, don't put them on pillowcases. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let's. While we're on the Tuttle thing, I'm not going to be able to put a lot of pictures up because I was trying to take really good pictures, so they would look scrunchy. But we're going to do a quick, just so you can kind of get a feel of what they had. This is a really cool display that they had set up. And this one is Ace Harlan from New York City. I had a couple pieces of flash in there, some pictures of him. It was cool to see some of these original pieces, and they were original. That, they were willing to let you take pictures of.
So Lyle was one of the first guys that was savvy enough to understand that these older tattooers, their families might have, not been real. Their families were not keen on keeping their stuff. Didn't see a lot of value in it.
Right.
So Lyle went around for a lot of years and would buy everything, that a tattooer had sort of left behind.
Yeah. I'm also going to get an interview with her. I mean, she's the current conservator of the Lyle Tuttle collection. She is more than willing, she said, to sit down and talk with me when we go down there.
And if you have an opportunity to buy this book.
Yeah, Justin was able to score this yesterday.
Excellent.
They had some really cool stuff. There was another tattoo artist that was in front of us. I don't remember his name. From Jersey. And he's a collector. And he was buying a bunch of stuff. He bought some original flash. He bought some, I think he bought a couple acetates. There was a card there that I really wished I could have sprung for, but I just couldn't do it. It was an original business card from Burt Grimm's shop. And then not only did it have Burt Grimm at the top, but it had Zeke Owens, Bob Shaw, and there was a third person on the business card. And it was an original from Burt. And I could have bought it yesterday, but it was $200. And I was like, I can't see spending $200 on a business card.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not in a position like Justin, Mr. Moneybags, that has, room to do all kinds of cool flash and all that other stuff. What?
Nothing. So I actually don't.
Moneybags?
No. I actually I have a couple pieces. I have some pieces, some Sailor, especially some Sailor Jerry stuff, but a lot of that stuff doesn't hold a lot of appeal for me anymore. I don't.
Well, it's one of those things where,
I mean, if I had a chance to get like a Charlie Wagner machine, an original Mike Malone machine, something like that. I would be either a Jonesy square back or a round back.
Yeah, well, like Tattoo Tony, right? He opened up that the Jersey Shore Tattoo Museum, right? And because he's collected pieces throughout the years, and he did something with it. I mean, it's inside his tattoo shop, almost kind of like Daredevil, right? But he's got a venue to display it and share it with the world, and you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do? Buy a Burt Grimm business card and put it on a cool little plaque in my house that, a handful of people are going to see?
I wouldn't.
You got a shop where you can buy really cool original Flash and hang it on the wall.
Yeah. I wouldn't pay $200.
No, I'm just saying though, man. Like, for me to buy something like that is just, I don't have the place to do it.
I might pay. I think I might pay for an original Sailor Jerry card though.
Okay.
Because
Well, you have a different level of respect for Sailor Jerry than you do for Lyle Tuttle.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's just like anybody else out there. Like, there's certain guys that like, Leo Zaleto over, this person, or, Bob Shaw over this person. Like, it is what it is, dude. There's no, but you did get, what's the Flash that you got?
No, I didn't get this yesterday. This is actually an old Spalding production sheet. And this is a copy of Lyle's back piece, the Duel in the Sun.
Right. So if you see any pictures of Lyle Tuttle's back, that would be part of it. Didn't you buy something else there yesterday?
I bought a couple, not there. No, I bought a couple sheets of Flash from Big Meese, and I bought a print from Jeff Raschier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Big Meese had some really cool stuff that I really, really liked, man.
Go ahead.
He had this badass. It's probably like the size of that book. It would be a tattoo, and it was. It said Panhead, and then it had an original Panhead engine, Harley Davidson motorcycle engine, and then it had some other stuff. I think it was like the year underneath. Man.
Yeah, he had Pan, Shovel, and Ironhead.
I would have rocked that.
The three prints.
I would have definitely rocked that. I would get that as a tattoo. I mean, because he does some freaking awesome work. It's all, those pieces would be black and gray, which not really my thing, but I would do that.
So so yesterday a couple of the guys, so Scott Sylvia was there. He was selling machines, doing tattoo work. Jeff Raschier's work is he's a favorite of mine. He's it's got this weird underground psychedelic comic feel to it. It's really twisted. Wow, I'm drawing a complete blank. Jason Goldberg was there from Philadelphia. Dave Fox was there from Philadelphia. Paul Dobelman was there. Dobelman is just an absolute master of traditional tattoo work. I mean, just really, really understands how to put good traditional tattoo work on. It just goes on and on. All the guys that were there.
Definitely a great time, man. I'm glad we went. I would, I would definitely go again, as much as I complain about going to New York City. I wish we could have stayed longer, but we were so shot out. I would have liked to have seen, at the end,
I would like to have gotten tattooed, but
that's
my complete lack of planning.
It's tough, man, because not only do you need the time, but then you need the money as well. I saw last night on Instagram that they did so they were doing contests just like every other tattoo convention for best black and gray, best color.
Did you see the Japanese?
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
They did there must have been probably 8 guys that were full Japanese bodysuits, and they had them up on stage. I don't think they were actually judging them. I think it was just a
show.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I don't know if I'd be able to rock that little diaper thing that they were wearing, though, dude. I mean, I know it's tradition or whatever, but
yeah, I was wondering about that this morning. Like, if I wanted to go to like a convention like that and just show all my tattoo work, I'd have to wear a Speedo.
And nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that.
Although, you know what? There was a hold on. Let me, just so I can give her a shout out. Blah, 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 blah. 1 second.
So years ago, there was a couple, Theo and Miss Elizabeth. And Theo and Miss Elizabeth were both tattooed completely, and except for their faces. And they were also pierced extensively, and lots of genital piercings for both of them. And they were both, I think, in their 60s. And so they would walk around the Roseland Convention, which is the old New York convention, and people would be like, hey, can we see your tattoo work? And they were not shy.
So there was a Komodo tattoo studio that was there yesterday. I got to meet Jessica. It's Jeffrey and Jessica that own they're from Hudson, New York. They specialize in Japanese work.
Large-scale Japanese work?
Yeah, and they had a picture of a guy that was at least 300 pounds-ish or more. I got to be honest with you, it looked like me from behind with a full-blown Japanese, like his whole back and all the back of his legs were done. And I went, holy shit. And I go, how long did that take? And she laughed at me. And she was like, oh, yeah, that took a few hours. And I was like, yeah, dude, that dude's back is broad. I mean, that dude had a back like a billboard. Nice.
Jill Bonney was there, too. Jill Bonney is actually, she's Western, but she is an acknowledged part of a Japanese tattoo family.
Okay.
I think her Haricho? I'm not sure which family it is, but...
Well, there were a couple guys there that were doing full, old school...
Tabori.
Tabori, that's it.
Yeah,
and
Tabori
so the poke is...
Tabori.
Tabori. And then what's the tap one?
Tatao.
What?
Tatao.
Tatao?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So there was somebody else doing that, too.
I didn't actually see that.
Yeah, they were in the back corner.
Really?
Yeah, they were...
was the guy screaming?
No. We saw somebody at Battlefield that was getting that done. The Tatao. He said it didn't hurt at all. He said it actually hurt less than a regular tattoo. So, which... I don't know if that's true or not, but...
So I think a lot of those guys now, because it's something that Horiyoshi does, is he'll do his outlines with a machine. And then all the shading and all the coloring is done the Tabori style.
Okay.
So...
I really thought that the Lyle Tuttle thing, the lady Danielle that was running it was super nice. Like, she was willing to, answer any questions that you had, and it's going to be in a traveling exhibit.
And I mean, somebody brought this up to me this morning. You could tell that she definitely had affection for Lyle. Like, real affection. Like, she wasn't just she wasn't just curating some sort of random thing. I mean, she
really, really, like, deeply gave a crap about his lifestyle, what he did, and his collection.
She had a funny story that apparently Lyle tried to swim from Alcatraz to San Francisco. And about halfway through, he started to get swept out to sea.
Yeah, she said that he was.
He had to be rescued by the Coast Guard.
He was very much into the extreme adventure stuff at some point, and I guess that.
I was surprised that she didn't bring up the fact that, Lyle's leg work was done in Samoa. He was one of the first guys to go and get Samoan tattoo work.
she was super open about answering any questions that you had, and there were 2 questions that I had to hold off on asking because I didn't want to offend her. I kind of wanted to be like, well, how did you wind up being the executor of all this stuff? And, you gave me some story, some details about stuff you had heard and whatnot. And we don't want to spread anybody's business out there, but I am curious to see how that came about. And then the other thing I was going to ask about was the whole Janis Joplin thing, and I didn't think that was appropriate. So we'll hold off on that until another time. Probably won't get into that with her when I do interview her. But, these are the kind of shows that we try to make sure that we promote for you guys. And I know a lot of you are not from the United States.
Just real quick, so I don't want to give the impression I have absolute respect for Tuttle.
Yeah.
Like he's like Hardy. I mean, he did more to advance the cause of tattooing, than I'll ever be capable of doing. He was one of the first guys that was media savvy. He was one of the first guys. I mean, he was on a Rolling Stone magazine cover.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I think if you get into any of these guys' personal lives, they're people.
Yeah.
And they're the kind of people that they're interesting people.
For sure.
Yes.
Look, it's just like anybody out there that's a rock star, actor,
anyone,
politician. You're going to find out things about their life that you might not agree with or don't think is okay. It kind of is what it is, man. I mean, who are we to, I'm not saying we,
but yeah,
but like, who are we as people to judge? You know what I mean? Like, I remember being in London and they were talking about what's her name, the princess that's married to the son or whatever.
Meghan Markle.
No,
Markle?
the other one. Kate. She was she had disappeared for a little bit from the public eye or whatever, and she went on TV and had to be like, hey, look, I got cancer. This is what's going on. I'm going through it, and da 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 da. And people over in England were like, some people were like, why did she even have to do that? But I guess if you're in that public eye, you your whole life is under the magnifying glass of scrutiny.
So years ago,
do you really want to be a part of that?
No. So years ago, there was a woman who was running for governor of Texas, and she actually became governor of Texas.
Okay.
And she was in recovery.
Okay.
And so after a while on the campaign trail, the reporters began to ask, where does she disappear to occasionally? Where does she go? And so she actually had to break, I believe that fellowship has traditions about anonymity.
There you go.
And she had to go. She had to have a press conference and say, "Listen, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and if that's where I'm going, like, do not film these people.
Yeah.
Just give me that little bit of privacy."
I just think that,
which is, I think, different than a guy like Steven Tyler, who plays like he's the poster boy for recovery and then relapses every 15 minutes.
Okay. I think that, yeah, I'm not touching that one. I think that...
wouldn't it have been better if Aerosmith would have just died after Rocks?
I'm also not going to touch that one.
And we didn't have to deal with any of that crap from the 90s.
I am
oh my God.
Not a fan of the band, so...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the band after the first 3 albums.
Not a fan of the band.
The only thing I was disappointed about yesterday was there were no midgets. I sort of wish there had been tattooed midgets there.
I do not. But a quick update though.
Buck loves to be sent.
I do want to say, last week we did a whole episode on trying to answer some questions on apprenticeship portfolios, and you were kind enough to put together some stuff, and the person that actually did pose those questions to us, she did email me and give me a quick update. Unfortunately, she did not get the position. She said that she was going to take all the negatives that person had, and it was just going to make her stronger and make her push harder to improve and do what she's got to do to make it in this business. I told her that I was very sorry to hear that. It sounded to me like, from what she was saying, it went beyond constructive criticism. Didn't sound like it was super cool experience for her. But she definitely appreciated the fact that we took the time to answer her questions. And, hopefully the people out there that are watching it that are, trying to be apprentices or trying to jump into this, got something out of that.
Civ has a story where he went to Mike Malone, he went to Rollo, and he said, will you critique my work? And Mike was famous for being like, no. You don't want me to critique your work. And Sid was like, no, really, critique my work. Tell me what I'm doing. So Malone looks at his portfolio and says, man, this is really good, except your lettering absolutely sucks. You have the worst lettering in the fucking world. Excuse me. You have the worst lettering in the world. And when Civ tells that story now, you get the sense that even though Mike Malone was like, your lettering is terrible, he said it in such a way that was like, your lettering's terrible, but if you work on it, it'll be better.
Right.
And there's a way to go about that. Like when people bring tattoos in here and they're like, what do you think of this guy's work? It's tattooers that bash other tattooers, man. That's nowhere.
I will say, though, that she has been cranking out a lot of flash that she's painting, throwing it up on Instagram.
Nice. Is it good stuff?
I think it's pretty amazing, actually.
What kind of stuff is it?
A lot of American traditional.
So, 3 East Bridge Street, Endsville Tattoo. We love free flash.
I think she's doing an amazing job, man. And
3 East Bridge Street, Morse. What was her name again?
I don't know if I want to say it because
okay.
She didn't get the position, and I don't want anybody to.
Yeah. So the person that we're talking about, 3 East Bridge Street, Morrisville, PA.
She shows up in chat sometimes. Apparently she works weird hours, so she can't always make the Sunday night. But she always comments or watches later. So
I'll put your flash up in the shop.
Yeah, man, I'll show it to you, dude. I think you'll like it. There's a lot of really good work. So, she just said, hey, look, man, it's just going to make her push harder and keep doing whatever she's got to do to get it, man. She said that she made a promise to her father who passed away in January that she was going to do this, and so she has her heart set on making it and being a part of this industry.
And that's something that Furry said to me years ago. Furry Couch. I can remember we were standing outside at Philadelphia Eddie's, and he was washing the windows, and he was like, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Because I was a couple years in, and I was sort of unsure about what I was doing. And he was like, just keep tattooing. Just keep painting. Just keep doing it.
See, but did you hear what Justin just said? For all you people out there that are considering apprenticeships or are an apprentice, a seasoned veteran was washing windows.
Yeah.
So the fact is that, yes, you might be asked to do things while you're being an apprentice, but we're talking about a seasoned veteran was still washing windows.
Right.
Because it's just part of owning a shop or working at a shop or being a part of a shop. It doesn't end.
And really, to be honest with you, no one cleans the floor the way the owner does. No one looks after the shop the way the owner does, if he's a good owner. It's like the ship captain, the old thing about the ship captain. No one coils the rope the way the ship captain does.
Nobody wraps cables like Mike or like like Buck does.
Yeah. Dude, it's amazing. He can roll them out.
Hey, man, I got a lot of practice. I rolled a lot of mic cables back in the day. I want to make sure that we do get on this real quick. I don't mean to show you guys a blank screen, but where is it? I wanted to make sure that we did our part today.
Are you going to talk about Norfolk?
Yep.
All right. Excuse me, guys.
Just so everybody knows, JD Crow running the Norfolk Tattoo Expo coming up in October in Norfolk, Virginia. Amazing lineup of tattoo artists that are going to be there, just like what just happened this weekend in New York City. If you get a chance or you can make it to Norfolk, Virginia, I believe there are still rooms available at the hotel where the expo is. I know there's people from different countries right now, and you know, Justin and I have actually talked about this a lot. Any of you tattoo artists or people that are listeners, might not be a tattoo artist, if you have any cool conventions coming up that are in your area, email us, man. We'll throw it up there. We'll promote it. I know that like Lyle Hardy will post up a bunch of stuff, and you know, like he went to Bristol. Dana Brunson was just in Bristol. I mean, we'll throw it up there because you know what? If we got people from other countries that are listening, dude, we want to promote your shows as well, especially if you're going to be there as an artist. Like Drag, if you're ever doing a show, let us know, dude. We'll promote that show. Go ahead, man.
So one of the things that Dana gave us yesterday was...
Actually, I'm going to go back to full screen so everybody can see that.
One of the things that Dana gave us yesterday was in Norfolk, that actually Coleman is buried there, Rogers is buried there, Blair, Gretchel, Miller. I mean, these are all the Godfather tattooers, and he gave us this just to say where they were, and also a map of where the tattoo shops are and where the convention's going to be. But if I actually went down there, I'd be very interested.
Yeah, I mean, so my intentions on going down there are to do the convention, to try to get as many interviews as I can, but there's a bunch of this kind of stuff that I plan on doing when I'm down there. I mean, that's why I'm down there for multiple days. It's not about just being 100% about the convention.
You know that's Sailors bringing in Street Girls sign must pay for room in advance.
Yeah,
that's from Norfolk.
Yeah.
I
definitely want to get into seeing some of that. I mean, I know it's a little weird going to cemeteries and stuff, but I've done it in the past, man. Honestly, dude, if you're ever in London, dude, Highgate Cemetery is probably the freaking most amazing cemetery. Excuse me. That's what I get for swallowing or chugging Pepsi. Highgate Cemetery is probably one of the most amazing cemeteries you'll ever see in your entire life. I mean, I'm cool with it. I don't know. I think it's interesting.
I've done a lot of things in cemeteries.
You know what Perfetto said to me yesterday that I thought was interesting?
What?
Didn't he say that his aunt is buried right down from where Wagner was buried?
Did he? I might have not been there for that.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, because Wagner's in a pauper's grave. O'Reilly,
yes, he did say that.
And he said that his aunt, so their family plot is right there, so he's going to be buried like remotely close to O'Reilly. And then he also said that he paid for O'Reilly's headstone.
I believe it.
And he told him another story about the O'Reilly family tree that I don't want to talk about on here, but there was somebody out there claiming to be O'Reilly's relative, and they weren't. A tattoo artist. So somebody lying about tattoo history? No way. I'm just saying it. So
yeah,
come on now. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the show. I hope you all enjoyed the recap. Please make sure you watch this week. I am going to piece together some cool little boom, boom, boom clips of the show. and we'll get it out to you. Hopefully you'll maybe get a little bit better vibe. I did go live twice. I went on Instagram, and I did do a live real quick on YouTube, which is posted. You can catch that if you want to watch that right after this. It's a quick little 2-minute, just me kind of panning around talking, but yeah, so hopefully you guys watch that. Hopefully you get to check it out this week. I hope you all have an awesome week. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with us tonight. And as always, thank you all for being a subscriber and being a part of our Tattoos and Review family.
And so Buck and I, I can't believe I forgot this till the very end. Buck and I are developing a Facebook group for two fat guys in a tattoo shop.
Yes.
And when it's finally done and finally like all polished up, I want everybody to join and everybody to tell their friends. And again, it'll be another way for you guys to communicate with us, because really we need your input for the show.
Right. But we also want you guys to share it, so maybe we get a couple more listeners and hanging out with us and being a part of our family.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just Justin is gonna control that and take charge of that, and we made it separate, so this way it's not separate from Tattoos and Review or anything. It's just to promote the live stream specifically, and it doesn't get kind of caught caught in the wash of the rest of the Tattoos and Review stuff that we're doing. So
okay,
have a great night, guys.
Have a great
See y'all
night.
next week.